Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Offsides, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I am your host, Andres Robledo, and I'm joined today by my co-host, as always, Pablo Robledo. What's up, Pablo?
My back hurts.
Yeah, you got picked up an injury in the last night's game, eh?
Yeah, mold. Nobody even tackled me or nothing. Just shot from a weird angle and twisted my back. I'm like, oh, I'm out.
What'd you say caused the original injury was caused from an intense round of golf?
Oh yeah, yeah. It did start hurting when we were out playing. But it started to feel a little better, and then like it was just like that one back shot I had. And it was like already at a weird angle, and I just like swung as hard as I could, and I don't know. I just felt my back pinch. I was like, ow. And then we didn't have any subs, and I don't want to sit out the rest of the game and make you guys play with no subs. So I was just out there like, ow, ow, ow.
Finally playing defense.
Yeah, because I don't think I can play forward anymore. I can't run.
Yeah. You're getting old when you get hurt from playing golf.
Yeah, I thought golf was supposed to be the sport old people play, but now I'm really starting to question that decision there. 'Cause now what am I gonna do? I'm not playing pickleball.
What about shuffleboard?
No thanks. What is this, Chuck E. Cheese?
Well, we got some for today's episode we've got some news on the team around some new signings and potential signings, as well as a recap of the match against Orlando City Soccer Club, and then a preview of this weekend's match against the Inter Miami that we're playing.
Yeah, next home game.
Yep, finally back at the Bank of America Stadium this Saturday.
We're back.
Yeah, we are playing Inter Miami at 3:30, which is going to be interesting. A little afternoon game, which will be nice.
Yeah, that should kind of, I'm hoping, builds momentum for us because Miami's not too great of a strong. I should say they're not strong right now. So
well,
hopefully,
I don't know. They're kind of on a streak, aren't they?
Are they?
I think they're trending upwards, more so than they were at the beginning of the season.
Oh, I hope that's not the case. Nope, they're still they're number 12. We're number 10. Not that much better, but still, I think we're better than Miami.
Yeah,
as far as like who we have on the roster, talent wise.
Yeah, so obviously they had a really bad start of the season with a draw followed by 4 losses. And
Yeah,
they picked 4 wins up in a row, and then unfortunately lost to New England. Well, I guess not unfortunately, but they lost to New England this past weekend 2-0.
yeah.
Which kind of shows that we're probably right around their level right now.
Yeah. Although I did just read a little bit ago where Matt Turner, who is the UN's men's national soccer goalie, is set to return to New England after, I guess, being out for some injuries, which I didn't know anything about, but I did see that headline. I thought that was interesting because, one, I had no idea he even played for New England, or two, that he was out on injuries, which would explain New England's lack of results lately. I know when we first played them, we thought they were a pretty strong team, and then after that win, we were like, I don't know about New England, which is why we predicted we were gonna beat them, but we didn't. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they're gonna develop in the tables once he returns.
Yeah, crazy to see that Matt Turner is playing football for New England when his father's Ted Turner, head of CNN, I think.
I don't think so.
Probably no relation there.
I thought you were gonna say Ted Bundy.
No, definitely no relation there. All right, so let's jump into the news. So the first bit of news we have is that Charlotte have agreed in principle to acquire forward Andre Jasinski from the Colorado Rapids for up to $400,000, guaranteed of $225 general allocation money, with another $175 in incentives. Jasinski's 24, former MLS Rookie of the Year. He was the 5th overall pick in the draft, the MLS draft. And he's been with the Rapids for a couple of years now, and looks pretty solid. I don't think anything too exciting, but definitely some needed depth at the position with a proven player. He's got 16 goals, 6 assists over 86 appearances, which 51 of those were starts. So definitely nothing to sneeze at, but again, nothing that's too exciting. But I think for a lot of people, the second signing that was announced today, which you're going to cover, was definitely a lot more exciting. And I know for you and I personally, it was definitely a lot more exciting. But why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Vargas, the what you mentioned, Division Two Portuguese League. He's set to be a striker and also maybe a possible winger. He's a young guy with like a lot of speed. For a
Flair.
Colombian, got a lot of height, which is surprising. And yeah, a lot of flair. He's got a long, real strong foot. I saw on his highlights reels. He's had a lot of outside the box goals, and also some real nice strong headers, which is kind of what we need. But it makes me wonder. So we acquired this guy who's a potential striker slash winger, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're looking to hire, or not hire, but sign the other guy from Columbus. Is that right?
Colorado.
Colorado. Thanks. As another potential striker.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's where we should really be looking at? Because in my opinion, I mean, we just got Yazviak, who they have not started too much. We got Rios, we got Soderski, then we have some of the guys in the
And we've got Reyna and Mello as well, who hasn't made his
right.
debut yet because of injury.
So
But
it's
yeah,
like we got a lot of guys up there that what I'm thinking is we need to beef up the defense and the defensive line. I mean, the defensive midfield position more. What do you think about all these new prospects coming in as they're looking for strikers more?
yeah, I think the key thing for me is the potential for him to be able to play on the wing as well, and then with Yazwiak also being able to play on the wing and that being his preferred position as well. I think it kind of signals that like maybe there needs to be a change in formation to a more modern traditional like 4-3-3,
Mm-hmm.
where you got your three center mids that kind of play in a pendulum of each other, one holding mid and two attacking mids, and then your three forwards, one of which is obviously like a more traditional striker type
Right.
forward, like a number 9, and then you've got your two outside wingers who can cut inside and beat players and get shots from outside the box or make runs inside the box for easy goals, and those are your kind of creative attacking outlets. And I think Yazwiak and Vargas fit that mold really nicely. I also think going to that formation gives us more depth in all three of those roles, because then you have Reyna and Rios that can play that number 9 role behind
Mm-hmm.
Swiderski, and this new signing from Colorado, Andre. He seems to be kind of more of your traditional number 9 role as well. So then you got the depth there, and then you've got, Ortiz, Bender, Gaines that can also all play on the wings. Probably Alcivar as well.
Right.
And then in that middle of the field, you've also got a lot of depth with Jones, Ruiz, Franco, Bronico. Again, Alcivar can probably move into that center. Bender could probably also play there.
Yeah.
So I think you got a lot of depth there, but I agree that where we probably need to start focusing now is probably the back line. Obviously, this past weekend, Fuchs is back out at the left back position because Mora was out due to COVID-19 protocols. So I guess he must have tested positive or something, or been exposed to the virus. I'm not sure what. But he wasn't able to play. So with him being out, like our only other option is to play Fuchs there, which then forces us to play McCoon at center back, which we've seen, doesn't end well for us.
Bad news.
Uh, and then the only other option you really have at center back after that is Jan, who for some reason isn't really getting a heck of a lot of playing time.
Right.
I'd like to see him get his fair share, or a fair crack at it over McCoon, especially going forward. I think we've seen all we need to see from McCoon, just to see that he's not a starter.
Right.
Why not give this
No,
other young
he's a
guy a
relief.
chance? And then you've got Awful and Lindsay out in that right back. I'm happy with both those guys there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lindsay didn't have the greatest of games, but Awful came in and was a really nice change to the back line and to the offensive production. He was getting up the field really well, so I'm happy with that position as well. And then Corujo, I think he's pretty solid, but again, like there's no other real. Well, I guess we have Anton Walks at center back as well.
Yeah,
Um,
but Corujo seems to be pretty set in his role. Even with the lineup changes,
yeah,
Corujo and Lindsay haven't really switched up their positions too much. It's the only ones that really switch up a lot is just Fuchs, and that's only when McCoon seems to start, and then that's those two. Because I don't like to talk too negatively on the team, but McCoon and Fuchs don't seem to make a great pair back on that left side. So I'm just wondering if they just need to find somebody different for Fuchs back there. Whenever Mora's not available. But I
yeah,
was wondering about bringing in this Vargas and then another possible sign in from as a striker, because whenever Yazviak was first introduced, Yuna had talked about how he was most likely going to be a winger, but lately his starts have been as a striker. Uh,
yeah. He came on
and
for
on this game,
Rios.
yeah, in this game he took off Rios. So now I'm wondering is like what's going to be his potential role or his final destination the on this team.
Yeah. The other big difference too is like with Vargas, I can see him being a more one for one replacement for Rios more than I can see Yazwiak just because of his build.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bigger guy, can probably hold the ball up a bit more. They both offer really good speed, Yazwiak and Vargas, but I think just kind of that bigger stature of person, is kind of what we need in that striker position next to Swiderski, as opposed to like even when and we can get into this when we cover the match, but it seemed like Yazwiak and Swiderski wanted to like run into a lot of the same space or kind of like do a lot of similar things, so it doesn't seem like they like complement each other too well.
Can only be one Polish striker.
Yeah, I think Vargas is probably a better fit there. But
Yeah.
again, I'd rather just see the team switch to like a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
I just don't think the diamond thing is working.
No, yeah, it's you saw it this game. I mean, a lot of the crosses we had were just kind of went nowhere. They were just off target. They weren't real precision, and so you just leave it. You just leave. They waste all this time passing back and forth to the back of the line, all the way around, just to get one crappy cross in.
Yeah.
Where like Orlando, we saw them just like counterattack, 2 3 passes, and then boom, they got a shot.
All right, but we're back now. Like we were saying, yeah, Vargas, I think brings a lot of interesting dynamics to the team, and also, he's Colombian. It's always fun to have a Colombian guy to cheer for, and on the local team.
Yeah, yeah. Plus he's still very young, 20, I believe. So a lot of room there still for him to grow and develop. Hopefully the team's able to do that for him.
And you guys
Um,
share a birthday.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was born January 2nd.
Wow, I don't know too many people with a birthday.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Um,
jump in. Or any other things you wanted to talk about?
yeah, you forgot the big piece of news there from Nashville.
Hit me with it.
Reese Witherspoon, minority owner.
Is she a minority? Seems white to me.
Part owner. Any thoughts on that?
I loved her in Legally Blonde. It's a great movie. No, I mean, like, as in what? Like, should we get a
Nah, I don't care to see what
B
you thought.
B list actor? Is she B list? She's probably A
And
list.
the
That's
rich get
rude.
richer.
Yeah. Is she from Nashville?
I
Or
think she's from like South Carolina.
oh,
That's where like Southern people that don't want to know that they're trash. I'm like, nah, I'm from Tennessee. What the
Nashville's the
classy
classy part.
Southerners are.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I'm gonna look up where she's from now.
It's probably from like Idaho.
New Orleans.
Oh, that was
That
close.
was actually like oddly close. Not like geographically close, but like same theme. Yeah, her and then Derrick Henry too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That one makes a lot more sense.
No, it doesn't.
He plays for the Titans.
That doesn't mean you invest in a football team or soccer team, whatever.
I wonder how much. Did it say how much their investment was?
No.
What if it's
Does that
only
mean they're in
like
trouble,
100
like
grand?
financially? Like we need some angel donators.
Well, I mean, to touch on an actual piece of news with Nashville, they did debut their home stadium this weekend. It's the
Mm.
largest soccer-specific stadium in the U.S.
Oh, that's not.
With I think slightly over 30,000 seats. They had their first home game this weekend and sold it out. So that is cool to see. But yeah, interesting news to see Reese Witherspoon and Derrick Henry being part owners, very small part owners. I'm sure it's like only a couple percent. I can't imagine it's anything significant. But
Still,
yeah, maybe we should get someone. Who would we get?
we would have to get somebody from NASCAR.
We get Petey Pablo.
No.
He doesn't have the money.
No.
We could get
No, the
Jeff
visa.
Gordon.
Who?
Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, probably like
Could get Sandra Bullock. She's from North Carolina. She went to ECU for like a semester.
oh my gosh.
That's in their like all their marketing materials.
Who's the guy that owns Whiskey River?
No
He's a
idea.
NASCAR driver.
Oh, is that still around?
I mean, it's still there. I don't know who goes there, but it's still there.
Yeah. All right. So let's
Billy Graham. He could invest.
he's dead.
Somebody could. Billy Graham Jr. Library.
The library's part owner.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, let's jump into the review of this match as much as I don't want to. Like we said, they faced Disney United, which will never not be funny to me.
Yeah.
But
Watch this
Orlando
match
City
on Disney Plus.
yeah, exclusively. But no, so they faced Orlando City Soccer Club. It was a sloppy performance. Unfortunately, we fell 2-1 to lose our final, road game of the month. Had some interesting lineup changes. I guess there's a bit of news we didn't touch on. Adam Armour is unfortunately out for the rest of the season, which is just really, really unfortunate after all the praise we were giving him and all the progress he'd been making. It
Yeah.
looked like he was well on his way to start becoming a bigger piece of this team. Unfortunately, just tore some ligaments in his knee, and apparently he has no ACL in his knee or something already. So he's already like playing at a higher risk for this to happen.
I think they would have disclosed that before signing him.
I think they knew, but so he has a knee injury out for the rest of the season. And then Mora was again, like we covered earlier, under some kind of COVID-19 protocol, so he was out. And then Reyna, I believe, has also picked up another knock, so was unavailable.
Is that on your knee? Like, what is it that he tore?
I think like his meniscus or
His
something.
meniscus.
Just
It's
some
like part of
ligaments
your
in
knee?
there.
Is it
Yeah,
like muscle?
I don't know.
Well,
I didn't do really good in biology.
you would think that with like all these injuries that happen so many times to athletes that are like career-ending injuries, they would develop something to replace it. Like, I mean, we have like fake hearts, lungs. Or am I just thinking of Bicentennial Man?
Yeah,
Okay,
you're thinking
never
of
mind.
RoboCop.
Yeah,
the
we have the
reboot.
technology.
I'm thinking of the one with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But still, like, somebody should
It's definitely not fake hearts.
There's no people out there with fake hearts.
No
You
way.
guys have a fake heart out there? Let me
Let us see it. Whip it out.
do.
No, I mean, I don't think there's much he can. I mean, he's out for the season.
Yeah.
I will say it does seem like when you do. I mean, I know this isn't what he has, but since we're on the topic, like ACL injuries, they don't seem to be season ending anymore. It feels like a guy will just be out for a couple months. Like it's still long term, but or maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know.
It seems I don't know, from what I've seen, seems like it puts them out for the rest of the season and it just cuts down on their time significantly.
Yeah.
And they're prone to injury a lot more.
Yeah.
Like the chances of them re-injuring that is a lot more.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I feel like it's
I mean, look at
made
the
progress
original
over the last couple
Ronaldo.
years. That's what I'm saying though. Like when he was playing, yeah, like an ACL injury was like almost career ending. Nowadays, it feels like if it happens to a guy, he's out for like 4 or 5 months, and then it seems like it's gotten a lot better,
Yes.
the treatment and whatnot. But anyways, back to the recap. So some interesting lineup changes there. Ones that we were not too happy about. Obviously, Fuchs, pretty much forced to slide back out to left back. I don't know who else you could play there. McCoon back at center back. Um, that was a big disappointment to see, just because
Hmm.
he has not had, as we've been pretty vocal about on this podcast, not had a great display of performances lately. You can add this one to that list. And Kuruho and Lindsay, a staple in that back line. And then for midfield, we see Brent Bronico starting again. We see Alan Franco, Ortiz, and Alcivar at the top of the diamond, with Ortiz leading the charge in the center mid position, or that center attacking mid position. And then Rios and Swiderski in the forward positions. I think I know what your thoughts were on this lineup. I'll go ahead and ask, what did you think once you saw the starting lineup?
Yeah, once I saw, mainly when I saw McCoon there at center back and Fuchs at left back, I knew this was going to be just a hard game to watch already. I know I'm very critical of McCoon, but hopefully the people that watch this game can see why. He was just out of place. He seemed also out of pace.
Yeah, this was probably his least athletic looking game.
Yeah, and just outmatched the whole game. And then going there again on Bronico, he's just doing a whole lot of the same stuff where he just and when he's out there playing on the field, he's nowhere where he's making a big impact. He's not cutting off passes. He's not helping the attack. Um,
It's funny too because so Andrew from Outhouse Saloon, we were going back and forth on Twitter, and Bronico's performance was again kind of something he never really noticed until he listened to the podcast. And
mhm.
he said, "Hey, I watched this match and watched as much as Bronico specifically as I could, and counted maybe two like forward passes that were,
Right, and I
you
think you and
know,
I probably saw them.
yeah,
And we are like, okay, there's one. But I'm like, dude, that was like 75 minutes later.
yeah."
I mean, I
To
don't know
me, they were both in
exactly.
the like late second half.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing. He hasn't been doing it all game long, and he hasn't been doing anything consistent. But enough about him and his
Yeah,
weak,
we've harped on it.
yeah, just weak play there and weak merchandise.
The big disappointing thing is just how bad Ortiz, Franco, and Alcivar played too.
Yeah,
I
which
mean,
that
that was
that
really
threw
bad.
me for that was a surprise for me. They on paper they seem like there would be a very perfect match,
Hmm.
and not just because they're all like Hispanics up there, but it's like they seem like it would work well, but they just don't.
Well, I think the big thing too is like just the effort from all three of them this past game. I mean, just from the
Uh-huh.
whole team in general,
Yeah.
really. But it was just sloppy play.
Yeah.
You know, I guess we can harp on it a little bit more later on, but especially like Ortiz and Alcivar just seemed like they just didn't want to run this past weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
the work rate on both sides of the ball is just really bad, and then Franco was just really sloppy with the ball. He lost possession 15 times. I mean,
Ooh,
that is just way too many.
acceptable. Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind seeing those three line up again for this next upcoming match. Just to see how they do against a weaker team.
Even Ortiz,
Even Ortiz, yeah. But at the same time, it's like, this is our what, the fourth game away now? This
um,
past one. We had
3, 4. This is our fifth away game,
what, right, so
third in a row though.
yeah, so there's kind of a lot of little factors that
Or
kind of
if you
go into
count the,
Greenville.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's 4. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Because Ortiz did play a good bit of that game.
yeah.
But still, I'm just wondering, like, is being on the road so long also affecting them? Because I mean, travel, switching up rooms all the time, like that can, I'm sure, have some sort of effect. I don't know what, but some sort of effect
I agree. It
on you.
probably does have an effect, but I think
Not to the
to
extent.
yeah to like how to how bad they played this
Right.
past weekend, I don't
Like the
think you
whole
can
team just
blame
seemed
for.
tired.
Yeah, the whole team did look really sluggish, and
Yeah.
except for our 36-year-old defender.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
actually looked the best out there.
I'm gonna say this because at the beginning of the season, I had questioned it, but I had no doubt in my mind now. Like this guy he's not gassed or anything like that. Like he fully deserves to be out there every 90 minutes because if he's not, this could have been a lot worse. Like on that second goal where everybody was just left behind and you see him just sprinting down the field and he's like the only one even remotely close to catching up to him. Then he's still playing strong after that.
And not only that, but he's like, setting up a good amount of plays, like
Yeah.
kind of being that
Yeah.
creative outlet again.
So it
So great
just
performance from Fuchs, which
also goes to show you, like, yes, some of these Premier League guys are just European team guys that are coming over to the MLS are older and they can't perform as they used to, but like they're still outperforming young MLS players over
yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
So the talent's still there. No doubt in my mind, he deserves to start and play the full 90 minutes of each game on that. So
Yeah.
props to Fuchs for just proving me wrong.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. So let's jump into the first half. The first 8 to 10 minutes, I actually thought we looked like the way stronger side,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a nice change of pace compared to probably our last, call it, 5 games, where it seems, not counting Greenville, but let's probably our last 5 MLS games where we've actually kind of been the weaker team in the first 10 to 20 minutes of each half, and then kind of gotten into the game and obviously walked away with a couple wins, or have just been uh I think back to like the Philly game where we just kind of get behind the 8 ball really soon, and then even though we look a lot better in the later stages of the game, it's just kind of too late.
Yeah.
This game, it looked like we were kind of firing really early. Ortiz at the 5 minute mark had a decent attempt. We had some crosses. Like we were passing the ball really well in their half, keeping it, and then something just kind of switched, and Orlando slowly started kind of taking the game over, and then it leads to their first goal pretty early on in that first half. What did you think of that first goal?
That first goal, I mean, that was pretty well passed around ball. I believe it was number 6 for Orlando that started to play at the top of the box and passed it out wide. And then that forward or whatever position he plays, he dribbled it out, had Lindsay on him. He kind of juked Lindsay just enough to get some space.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't cross it in, but he just kind of sent it in. And then the same guy that started the play that was now running into the box just somehow passed the ball back, knowing somebody was going to be there, and that guy just drove it into the net. Like that to me was just amazing team chemistry.
Yeah.
Something that our team really lacks right now, where there should be some, but we just don't have any. So another thing on this game is like Orlando, I believe, is third in the tables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we knew it was going to be a difficult game.
Yeah, so we knew this was going to be a tough game, but like you can tell, like this team is just really in sync right now.
Yeah.
And where we're not, like our passes are not accurate, our pace isn't there, our guys are not moving into space or helping out the attack like they should. If Bronico did what this guy did, where he passes it and then runs into the box, like
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't rant on him so much, but he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Or if some of our forwards were just like, instead of stutter stepping so much around the box and just make a decision and either pass the ball off or shoot real fast,
Yeah.
like we would have more goals, but
Or
it's
even
just not there.
even think if they just played the ball on the ground across the face of goal, which is
Instead of chipping it in.
yeah, or just going way out wide and crossing it to no one. It just we don't have that versatility in our attack. It's pretty one dimensional of either trying to like force something to happen in the box or go out wide and cross it.
Yeah, it's amazing to me what a team in form in comparison to our team, just how black and white the difference is.
Yeah.
and the opportunities they can create in a split second, where it takes us almost like 5 to 10 minutes of play just so we can get a cross in.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we like it. You look at like the stats, we have a lot of possession, a lot of passes completed and whatnot. There's so much of it is just like sideways or
Mm-hmm.
backwards.
Yeah.
We'll probe down one side, and as soon as like we get a little bit of pressure, it's back to the back line, and then
Yeah.
they slowly work it around to the other side, and it's just
Yeah.
so
And it's really
so
frustrating to
slow build
see.
up.
It's a slow pace of play where the team, like the opposing team, really doesn't
Yeah.
have to do too much defending except make sure that they keep the ball on the outside and just have a lot of defenders in the box for when the cross eventually comes. Like our playbook has basically been figured out.
Yeah, and that's something that we were watching the match at your place with the family. I was talking to Dad about that. Maybe you as well. Actually, I don't remember now, but I'm just wondering if teams that have figured us out to where it's like don't give up the middle to them. Let them go out wide, and then
Mm-hmm.
from there, there's not really any threat.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, sure, if we let them have the ball out wide, we've basically already won the defensive battle here.
Yeah. Because all we're sending is a 50-50 ball.
To no one really.
Yeah.
We
It's
don't
like
really have a target guy.
exactly. And the guys that are there, most of from this game are just our crosses were just not very accurate. So it was like send the ball and somebody else will get. And even a lot of those crosses that were sent were overpassed. It was just like way over.
I think for as much as I like Lindsay, especially, I think this is definitely not his best game. This is probably his worst game he's had. He got really beat really easily. Obviously, that led to the first goal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he looked really slow this whole game. But the one thing that I've noticed over the last couple games though is he does get, even though he does get forward a lot and gets the ball out in that wide position, his crossing, he just hasn't figured out his range yet. A
Okay.
lot of the time he overcrosses
He
it.
does overcross it, yeah.
So he's got to work on that.
Yeah.
But
Also, it seemed like our Sudarsky still seems to be very frustrated
he
from
had
the
such
lack
a
of
bad game.
opportunities he's had.
He's starting to get in his own way, don't you think? Because it felt this game he kind of forced himself into positions to pick the ball up, and then was just trying to do too much and would just lose it.
Yeah.
He just gave the ball up a lot, or got it taken from him, and really high up the field a lot. It just it felt like he was just really in his own way, where he should have, instead of trying to pick the ball up, just keep running into spaces and let
Or
let the
hold
guys
it off
play
until
into
you
you.
get support.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which doesn't seem to be something he does a lot of, holding the ball
no, he wants to receive it and turn
and go.
take a guy on.
Yeah.
Or
But also, we saw in this game a lot of times when we had the ball for a counterattack, like nobody was there.
no,
Nobody was running up.
again, it was just everyone was really slow and lethargic this game.
Yeah. And this goes back to, I mean, we're starting an attack, we lose it, and Orlando builds a really strong counterattack. So now everybody's running back.
Mm-hmm.
And whether Orlando scores or not, then now you're super tired from running back to play defense to get the ball, and now you gotta build your own attack. So I could see them being tired, but I mean that's just part of it. Like Orlando had no problem with it, but our guys they just took forever trying to make some sort of play there. The play is very consistent as far as attacking. It's just get it through the sides, pass it around, and then send a cross in, and it's just not working.
Yeah, I think it's probably been that was to me the most frustrating part of watching this game was just we've seen the last 3 games, not the team not really doing that well on the attacking side of the ball with creating chances and putting chances away, and we've harped on it already of like we're going too out wide and crossing to no one. There's no build up play through the middle. There's no shots out from outside the box, and you see it from some of these more successful teams like doing it, like Orlando did it. You see Philly doing it. Austin has really good link up play. So there's a lot of good MLS teams that are doing this, and it's just frustrating after
But it's
watch.
also at a quicker pace.
Yeah, and it's at a quicker pace.
Yeah, and they're not going out as wide. Like,
Yeah,
and I'm talking about where we're passing the ball around. Like we get the ball and we'll pass it and we'll make it all the way down to like halfway down the opposing team's own half. And then we'll pass it all the way back to the halfway mark and sometimes even a little further just to go around to the other side where like these other
Yeah.
teams, they're short, quick passes, but they're not going so far back and they're not taking so long to do this.
Yeah. And what the last thing I was gonna say there was shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh man, I totally lost my train of thought. I'll blurt it back out if I get it back.
What do you think of Kaleem's performance this past game?
Lena looks solid as always. I
Mm-hmm.
think, when he does get scored on, it doesn't feel like it's because of an error or a mispositioning on his part. It really just feels like, just that back line letting him down.
Yeah,
Like,
he looked
again, on that,
really frustrated at the back line this
yeah.
game.
Like,
He was yelling a lot, whatever native tongue he speaks.
yeah.
It was
I
like
think he's, I want to
Croatian
say Croatian.
sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, like this first goal, like it gets played across the entire face of the goal, so he doesn't know like when it's gonna come in, right? He doesn't know if number 6 is gonna hit it one time,
right.
or or what he does do is just let it play all the way through, and then the guy running in gets it,
Yeah,
and he does his best to like get out there and try to cut the angle off,
yeah. He
but
was in good position to try to block that shot. It was just outpaced there a little bit.
yeah,
Looking on the replay, it looks far away, but when you're down in the field, like everything's just a little bit closer, and
yeah,
you have just a little less time to react than what it really seems.
yeah. What I was gonna say prior for last time, trying to thought was, it's been really frustrating to watch the team just keep playing the exact same way over and over and over
Mm-hmm.
again, with no change in lineup, no change in formation or tactics. It's
Yeah,
just been the same thing week in and week out. So that's been the most frustrating. That was the most frustrating part of this game, was
it.
after 30 minutes just seeing the same thing we saw last week and the week before.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
what this how the team is playing right now, and I hate to say it is, it reminds me a lot of like whenever I would play FIFA against a computer, and I could just like set it up on easy mode, put my controller down, and go somewhere else, knowing that the computer like was not gonna score because my computer defense was just gonna like
yeah,
do its own thing. Like there's just no skill or it's just randomness, no train of thought into
yeah.
some of these attacks.
And I feel like, for, if we have any, I don't know who like our listener base is. I know there's, 40 to 50 guys out there. I don't know, what everyone's experience in the soccer world is. But I feel like when we say like skill or creativity, we're not looking for someone to like get the ball at the halfway line and do 50,000 step overs the entire way. And
That'd be
then,
nice.
yeah. But I want to see like better link up play, like more 1-2 passes around defenders, just quicker pace.
Yeah.
But we just aren't getting that.
No, yeah, the 1-2 passes I don't see a lot of on this team. What you see a lot of is a lot of long balls up the field, and then our guys sprinting down trying to just get it. A lot of crosses and nobody, and then just a lot of short passes all the way around.
Yeah.
No 1-2s, no shots from outside the box.
Mm-mm.
No help when we're countering.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's what we really seem to be lacking on, and it shows because I mean, you look at a team like Orlando, you look at a team like Philadelphia, or even a team like Galaxy. Like those guys have it. That's their package right now. Like if you want to be at the top of the tables, like you gotta have that quickness, you gotta have that pace.
And even in our preview episode when we looked at Orlando, that's what we were worried about. Was like, man, they
Yeah,
don't need a lot of the ball, but they can move it around real quick and create
hmm
chances out of like nothing.
yeah, and even like we were kind of hoping like yes, they created a lot of chances, but they also wasted a lot of chances, and we are kind of hoping that they would. Alina, he snatched a good 2 or 3 balls out of the air in some of those crosses. He did stop a couple of shots. So I mean, Orlando was, their last game was away, and that's how they played. And this game was at home, and they played the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
Where when we play away and home, it's like night and day difference as well.
Yeah.
You gotta set the same tone for every game. And I know that's hard when you're like 5 games on the road, but I mean that's just part of it.
Yeah.
And if you want to climb up the ladder, climb up the table there, you gotta put some away when. Man, we just haven't done that, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, and again, to me, it's just like frustrating to not see any changes being made.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because like, yeah, it's still an incomplete squad. I'd say it's probably like 85% complete, maybe 90% now.
Yeah.
And but you've got like there is options in the team, but it just feels like we don't make any real changes. Uh, I kind of want to harp on Ortiz a little bit as we get into the second goal. I thought he, to go over his whole like arc, basically his whole story arc so far with Charlotte FC. There was a lot of hype of him coming into the team, obviously, and he quickly did not really live up to that. His performances were not the best. I think, early on we were pretty critical of him, and obviously, like, the manager saw that as well, benched him, and he became a player who came on in at the 85th, 86th minute. Maybe the second or third game that he came in that way, he started creating some chances, and we were like, oh, it's good to see like him, like he's creating some late minute chances. Would like to see him come in earlier in the game. Maybe when he's fresh and the game's been going on for a little bit, he can be more productive, and we saw
Mm-hmm.
that work out. And then he got his goal, right, and then he got rewarded for his goal and the chances he's been creating with the start against Greenville and then the start against Colorado, both of which I thought were pretty good performances. And then he kind of gets to keep that momentum going in this game, and I felt like this game was really a showcase of his attitude of like, okay, I got my starting position back. I can kind of like quit working hard. I can kind of rest on my
Right.
laurels. And
Yeah.
that's really what this game felt like to me.
Yeah.
Was someone who was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm a starter again. Like I'm
Yeah. The
not
same
gonna
old
try as
plain
hard.
Jane
Yeah.
Ortiz. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just disappointing to see just because, if I was the manager, especially and we can go and we can, transition right to that second goal. We have the corner kick. Orlando gets the ball out and is immediately on the counter attack. He is what 5, 6. We got the highlights here while we're watching it. He's 5 or 6 yards from the guy that
Yeah.
is on the breakaway. You wouldn't know that by the end of the highlight, but he makes no attempt to sprint back and do anything.
No, yeah, you're right. Whenever that happens, whenever that second goal is put in, and it's from that counterattack that Orlando just kind of creates, and then everyone's on it. Ortiz is the closest guy to that attacker, and then on the race back, he somehow ends up being third.
Yeah,
He gets beat by Fuchs, who
36-year-old
is
defender.
yeah, he's a defender, but he gets beat by Fuchs. He's much older than him, and then Carujo also tracks down Ortiz and passes him.
And you can barely see it in the highlight, but by the time Fuchs and Ortiz get to like maybe 5 to 10 yards outside the goalie box, Carujo is just now passing the halfway line.
Yeah.
So I mean that is saying something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and like Carujo's was like miles behind Ortiz. Ortiz just kind of like gave up on the play as soon as it started.
yeah.
Like he just like knew that there was no stopping it. I mean, it looks like it. Everybody saw it, but I bet you nobody saw that. At least I didn't think that second pass coming, which was good on that Orlando forward for being like not being selfish and passing it off for the 100% goal.
Yeah.
Um,
Mackenzie
but
Gaines. Take notes.
Yeah.
Get the trucker.
Yeah. But
No, I'm just kidding.
I think maybe you thought the same thing, but I thought he was gonna shoot it.
I did too,
I thought he
yeah.
was gonna shoot it, and then he passed it off, and they scored it. But I was like, yeah, Ortiz just gave up on that play as soon as it started.
And it's like what we were saying when we were watching the game live. When you're in that position, like, yeah, you're probably not going to get out in front, or you're probably not even going to get the ball, but you need to at least just foul the guy. And
yeah, exactly.
If you get the red, you get the red, right? But at least you stop a for sure goal. And I think, there he had to at least like play his odds and, foul the guy and just see what happens.
That's really like, honestly, the only option left is just to track back to him and get as close as you can without, still being outside the penalty area.
Yeah.
And just grab that guy's jersey and sling him down or something. Maybe not quite as dirty, but still like
Yeah.
do something
Yeah.
where you stop the play, but Ortiz didn't even try.
Especially when it's only 1-0 and you're about to go at halftime. Like,
Such a momentum killer,
yeah.
just so demoralizing.
I mean, it's like back to that Philly
And I
game
think you
where,
even saw Lindsey yelling at him
yeah,
towards
you do.
the
Yeah, you
end
do
of the
see it.
play.
Yeah. But it's kind of like back to the Philly game of like, okay, it's only 1-0. You know, if they can come out and strong, have a strong start to the second half, we're still in this, and then just to immediately get scored on and go 2-0, it's like it's pretty much the same thing. You're like, okay, it's 1-0. If we can just end the half 1-0, that'll be great. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden it's 2-0. You're like, dang it.
Yeah, or like 1-0, okay, let's just tie it up and get another
Yeah.
waypoint. Like that's that's a better pep talk, and that's an easier pep talk to give your guys at the halfway mark there. But now you just got scored on. Now you got to climb back up out of that hole from 2-0. Like, man, like,
And props to the manager Ramirez. He immediately benched Ortiz and put Bender in, and I would be willing to bet like $10,000 that Ortiz does not start next game. So
yeah,
I think we'll see Bender back in that starting lineup. And it's just a shame because I thought Ortiz really did work his way back into the starting lineup, and for him to just give it up and to give up on the team like that is just really pitiful in my eyes.
because he's from Argentina.
Because he plays Messi. Um, any other final thoughts on that first half?
No, I think we covered the first half pretty well. I mean, the second half is probably a mirror match of what the first half was, with the exception of we had a second or a goal there. Your luck.
Yeah, and then what were your thoughts on Fuchs taking the penalty?
I was actually worried
Yeah,
because it's the defender shooting.
it is. I talked to
Defenders play defense for a reason. It's
I,
not because they can shoot.
well, he's a good set piece taker.
I haven't seen any go in from him.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude,
what I was gonna say is I had that topic came up a little bit online of people saying like, you know, what does that say about our forwards not taking the PK, blah blah blah. But my thoughts on it were, I mean, I thought out of anyone on that team, I thought Fuchs kind of deserved to take the PK for everything he had done for the team throughout the whole, 60 minutes of the game at that point, where it was like, yeah, I mean, you've busted along to try to prevent a goal. You've been the creative outlet on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, take the PK. Like, it's yours. Like, it's kind of like a reward
yeah.
for hard work. I don't think with Serderski's performance, Rios, Alcivar, Franco, I don't think any of those guys really deserved to take it just because they had been just having really bad games. I'm sure any one of them probably could have made it, but
If Swiderski would have went up to take it, I would have felt a little more comfortable. I would have figured he's gonna blast it in somewhere. If Rios goes up to take it, I'm a little worried.
Yeah,
because I mean,
I'd rather
Rio hasn't
Fuchs take it
scored
than
yet.
Rios.
Yeah, Rios hasn't scored yet, and the few chances where he's had a shot, not too many have been on goal, and not too many have been like real powerful or like real excellent placement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, only one really comes
when
to
Fuchs
mind.
stepped up, I was like, "What?" I didn't know what to think. I mean, I was like, "Man," because I've seen so many defenders just lose it for a team.
Mm-hmm.
Just going back to like this last Copa America where Colombia and Argentina went to the penalties, and a defender lost the game because it was up to him.
Yeah,
and I, like I said, defenders play defense for a reason, and it's not because they can shoot. So, but I'm good on him to put it in, and the way he put it in, I was like, "Woo, that's
stylish."
Yeah, ballsy.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah, because most guys would have just blasted it in, but
And
he is a different type of a different tier player.
Yeah,
Very confident.
Mm-hmm.
So, good on him.
Yeah, and it's not as easy as those guys make it look to take a PK.
No, not like that.
No, I mean I had one over the weekend, and obviously we're playing on smaller goals and whatnot, but like even that, when I went up to take it, I was pretty confident up until like I went up to like take it. I was like, oh man, it is kind of small.
Yeah,
but no, I thought it was good on him to take it, a good reward for his efforts and to kind of show his leadership once more, to be the guy that steps up and does it. And then the second half substitutions we saw. Yazwiak come on for
Yes.
Rios. Yeah, what'd you think of that change?
Well, I mean, this kind of goes back into when we first signed Yazviak. We thought he's going to be a right winger. We thought he's going to take the place of Franco and maybe figure out what to do with Franco there. But I've always kind of felt like he was going to be a replacement for Rios. Maybe not like 100% replacement, but just kind of going in for him.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but I believe when I first kind of stated that, you're like, well, he is a winger and probably not going to be playing, but he seems to be going in for Rios more than playing that winger.
Yeah. I mean, do you think
But
that like it's an actual good like 1-for-1 substitution, or do you think it's just because the manager's like wants to play two guys up front? He's got this offensive player, and it's like, well, I gotta use him. Like,
well, I
just go
mean,
out there.
I guess what I'm trying to get to is I'm saying leave Rios in and take out Franco and let Yazviak play at his more natural position.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it could be a thing where Yazviak is more of a attacker on that right wing and not so much on the defensive end. Like
Yeah.
his defensive games is not all that strong as Franco's is.
Yeah. Although I would say he didn't have a great defensive game this week, but normally,
Right.
normally
Yeah.
I would say he's a bit better.
But maybe Franco's just a little bit better, and he doesn't think that it would be a good match. Or what I'm trying to say is it wouldn't be like helping out Lindsay as much because Franco does help out Lindsay some.
Yeah, I agree.
Then again, you never know, but I'd like to see him at his natural position, or I don't know if it's his natural position, but his listed position more. And then give Rios a little bit of more time. And I just want to see Rios put one in too, because now it's like, I mean, everybody's getting goals except you.
Well, is everyone getting goals except him? It's really
Fuchs
just
has a goal. Alcivar has a goal. Ortiz has 2 goals.
Oh yeah, true.
Zadersky's got some.
Awful's got one.
Awful has 1. Yeah, if you're counting that. Who else? Armor's got
a
one.
goal. Yeah.
So like,
but in terms of forwards, it's only Swiderski that scored. Like Reyna doesn't have a goal.
Reynolds doesn't have as many minutes in either.
Not very true.
I'm sure Reynolds had more close shots than Rios has.
Which is, I think it's due to injury that he hasn't taken over that spot, but I think that's something we'll see. Yeah. The only other thing, too, for Yazwiak coming on for Rios, and we talked about it earlier on the podcast, is I just don't think him and Swiderski mesh well as the two forwards. It seemed like they both wanted to, like, do the same thing sometimes. And we're just, like, really close to one another.
See, and I think that Rios and Swiderski don't match well. For some reason, they don't seem like a good pair up there. They don't seem to have that chemistry.
It does feel like they're kind of almost like Rios is the lone striker when we're on the left side, and Swiderski's the lone striker when we're on the right side.
Yeah,
as opposed to them playing off of each other.
Right. Yeah. This is just because whenever Swiderski has the ball, it just doesn't seem like Rios is making that move into space. But then Swiderski doesn't really give up the ball that much.
He had so many turnovers this game.
They just don't feel like a good match up there. So I'd like Swiderski to have somebody else up there. I'm hoping this Varmas guys, which I was getting ready to ask you too, is do you think he'll make his debut in this upcoming match? It'd be a good one to start. I mean, Miami's not a strong team, and what a better chance.
Yeah, then I
most
think
likely he'll start on the Open Cup game, I would think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a similar thing as with Yazwiak, right? Where I think we're going to get some of that. He's still too new, doesn't know the system, blah blah blah.
Well, it doesn't seem to be like a hard system to figure out.
Yeah, all the other teams have figured it out. No, I don't think.
All you got to do is just wait in the box for the cross, and that's it.
And that's the him signing kind of. It makes me think we are going to switch to 4-3, but at the same time, it makes me think maybe we won't, because he does seem like a better target man than Rios, where he actually looks like he can score headers. He looks faster.
Yeah, I was going to say Rios looks slow too.
He just looks like a better version of that type of player. And he looks like someone who, if Serjerski gets the ball up high,
Mm-hmm.
he's someone that can run in behind and get open to that open space and get a through ball played into him.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we might still see the 4-4-2 with the diamond in the middle because of this change. But I don't think we'll see him start. I don't even think he'll probably play this next game, just from what we've seen with Yazwiak. It took, I think, 2 weeks before he got any playing time, really.
Yeah. But we did see Jones start the next game.
That was the odd thing, right? Was like, we didn't see any minutes from Jones when he signed originally, but it was like a midweek signing. But then the next game, after a full week of training, we saw him get some minutes pretty late. And then we saw him start the very next game. And now we haven't really seen anything,
Yeah.
which has been really odd. I would
Really
love to know what's
disappointed.
going on with that.
I'm always thinking that they're saving him for this the Open Cup, the U.S. Open Cup,
Yeah.
like as a B team starter. Which I'm not. I'd rather see Bronico on that B team than Jones.
Yeah.
Miguel's just being Miguel.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say. So we talked about Franco lost the ball 15 times. Serjerski lost possession 19 times this past game.
That's just that's 1 under 20.
Compare that to Orlando's forward Erkan Kara. He only lost the ball 8 times.
Yeah.
So I think Serjerski had a really bad game this week.
Oh yeah, he did. I want to say the whole team did. But maybe not the whole team, but overall.
I would say only Fuchs and Kalina. And I would say actually Bender had a really good second half.
Yeah, I think Bender
nice.
deserves his starting spot back. Bender creates a lot of he creates a lot of plays when he's there. He moves into good space. He can hold the ball and
he's more consistent and reliable, which is crazy because he's a rookie.
Yeah,
and 21 years old. Like usually for rookies and young players, consistency is like that issue for them. But he seems to be like Mr. Consistent.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're always gonna get a solid performance out of him.
He doesn't seem like he's not like hot headed. Doesn't let the emotions override him. Things like that, which can kind of take over some players. You've seen it with like Franco when he starts. I hate when I see this from players, but like Franco and Serjerski and start arguing with refs over petty calls that just waste time.
Yeah.
Just Bender just kind of goes with it, and this is still because he's new. I would say, but he's just a lot more, like you said, reliable than some of these other players.
Yeah, I think
as far as like how he plays.
Yeah, like his floor of performance is a lot higher than I think Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ortiz has maybe hit his highs, his ceiling, a bit more often than Bender has. But I think Bender's ceiling is just as high up there. I think back to what was it, the first New England game where he set up a goal and scored a goal. So I think he has that goal scoring potential and the playmaking potential. We might not be seeing it week in and week out, but I think it's definitely there. And I think at the very minimum, you're going to get a very reliable player.
Yeah.
The other changes we saw were Harrison Awful coming on for Jalen Lindsay. This is the first time we've seen Lindsay get subbed off in a game. Thought that was pretty interesting, but again, pretty deservedly so. I think Awful had a great performance against Greenville. I don't remember if he saw any time against Colorado, but I think from what we've seen from him, we've kind of both been saying we need to see more time for him. So I thought that substitution made sense, especially with how good he is at getting up the field and creating attacking chances.
Lindsay had gotten subbed off last game as well. I could be wrong. Most likely, I probably am wrong, but
he might have been. I don't remember.
I know he didn't have a great game, but
maybe he did. I don't remember actually. But then we also had Ruiz come on for Alan Franco. To me, for the thing with Ruiz is I honestly didn't even remember he played, which has kind of been the same thing we've been saying all season. So
yeah,
wouldn't say he had a bad game, but just kind of been the same thing.
Yeah, Ruiz is kind of like just a Bronico 2.0.
Bronico.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it's you wouldn't know he had played unless you looked at the sub list or something like that.
Yeah, and then last but not least, we get Mackenzie Gaines coming on for Alcivar at the 82nd minute. When I saw Gaines come on, I thought maybe he could create something like he did last week and learn from it. but unfortunately, just nothing happened. Nothing was created. So, and hard to do anything with
What
only
minute
8
did
minutes.
Gaines come in at?
He came in at the 82nd minute.
Yeah, see, and
So
again, this goes back to why I don't like this coach's sometimes his subbing. Like forwards need, if you're gonna replace forwards, you need to do that around the 65th or 70th minute, not at the 82nd minute when we're down a goal.
yeah, I
Like
did like the
Gaines commission
Yazwiak
and
substitution because of that, because it was at the 68th minute.
yeah, but I mean Gaines should have been in there just as well as Yazviak. I don't know why you're
Yeah,
bringing him in so late.
no, I agree. I agree. And then yeah, we talked about the goal. Interesting thing, Fuchs was interviewed at the end of the game. He was, really harsh on the team's first half performance, rightly so, and good to see that from the captain of just being like, self-aware of what was going on. He called the team lazy. Uh, and then he said that the second half was much better, that we dominated and deserved at least a point coming out of that second half.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with those statements that the second half was a dominating performance?
I wouldn't say dominating. I felt like Orlando had figured us out enough to know that like we were kind of beating ourselves by passing the ball around so much and just killing the clock to the point where they didn't have to kill the clock that much. Like they're just out there like, okay, yeah, let them just pass it around, but nothing's gonna really develop. They
Mm-hmm.
probably figured and counted on that. Um, that's pretty much what happened. I mean, we just passed it and passed it and passed it and killed the clock and then sent in a crappy cross. And then Orlando's keeper was able to just, hold the ball and send it up or let it go out of bounds and then just take his time with the goal kick. It's just, we kind of just shot ourselves in the foot with that type of play. I mean, you're down a goal. You need to at least tie the match to get in 1 point away. That pace of playing that we did in the second half was just atrocious. Honestly, it was just we just killed ourselves there.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I didn't think it was a dominating performance or anything in the
No,
second half. I think we had the ball for a long period of time, but again, just
nothing
nothing
came out of it.
threatening. Yeah, no real chances made.
No,
Yeah,
like nothing looked like it was even close.
yeah, to
No
agree
real
with that.
highlights there. And even that goal that we had from that penalty, I mean, like that was just lucky, like super lucky that Franco kind of got shoved there in the box because honestly, it doesn't those don't really work out too well where they're in that position.
Yeah, yeah, agree. Um, all right, so then this weekend we'll be moving on to Inter Miami. I am a little bit worried about this game. Inter Miami seems to be turning things around. Like we said, they've won 4 out of their last 5. And I think some of those have been away, so they can clearly play away. And it looks like they're finding form. So I'm a little bit more worried about this game than maybe you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of counting on Miami just being the same old type of team they kind of were at the beginning of the season, where we come out with a win and start building our momentum up. I keep telling myself that Charlotte is still a new team. We still don't have a full squad, and I shouldn't get my hopes up so much. But you said it best earlier in episodes past. But we're so critical on this team because we just like care about them so much. Like we see so much more potential than they have shown.
Yeah, and it's just because they've shown flashes of it,
Right.
and the pieces are there, and it's
Yeah.
just frustrating that they're not putting it all together.
And
And
it's
and yeah,
frustrating
again,
when
it's
you
just
see like
because we
what
like the team so much. Like we're very passionate.
yeah, and you see like on the matches where we have won or heck even just came away with a draw, like you see what works, what you see what pieces work well together and what doesn't, and then it's frustrating when you see that they just go back to the same old thing. Like, why are you doing it? Why are you putting McCoon in? Why are you still putting in Bronico? Like, they're not doing anything to help. Like,
Yeah.
it's just why are you making these late subs or why are you doing all these crazy little crosses? A lot of the same stuff that we've kind of been harking on so much about, and it's not changing. And all
Hmm.
these, from what I can tell, I mean, like a lot of these other teams have just kind of figured it out.
It does seem to feel that way, especially Like our last win was the one against Atlanta, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, that took a moment of magic for us to really walk away with that win, that Olympico.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, the Cincinnati New England game, it looked like things are really working there. And I think even when we reviewed those games, we kind of felt like the team was starting to work the ball through the middle more, shots from the outside more. Uh, and were games that we kind of like handedly put away. New England 2-1, Cincinnati 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And even in that game, we saw some interesting lineup changes with Fuchs at center back, Mora left back, Jones in
Right.
the middle. Um, you know, and to see us go back to like what we've seen, you know, uh, the loss against Philly, it's the same team we saw there. Uh, the loss against LA and Atlanta and DC, it's like the same team there, and it's like, why are we going back to this? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of it just doesn't make sense to me.
It's like he has a home formation and an away formation.
Yeah, and I mean, even just some of like the lineup selection doesn't always make
Yeah.
sense to me. I mean, I get like in this game why we had to play Fuchs at left back, right? It's just Mora was out, and we don't have another left back. I'd totally think if Armour would have been healthy and Mora was out, Armour would have got the start at left back, and Fuchs would have stayed at center back.
I would hope
Um,
so.
I don't understand why like Zobozinski's not getting any time. I thought he had a good enough game against Greenville to where like you've seen McCoon does not work at that position. Like it's just too much of a liability. Why not try something new? Like the worst thing that can happen is that we end up with the same result of losing as what with McCoon there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so why not just try something new? And then same with like the Bronico thing, and it's just odd that like he does experiment with some positions. Like early on in the season, right? We were talking about Ortiz underperforming, and Ben Bender was performing, and we see Ben Bender get the start and get that starting position for a while, and then we see it flip the other way.
Right.
But
And
it's
that
odd that
worked.
like yeah, and that worked, but then you don't see it for like Bronico. You don't like see it for Rios. You don't see Awful getting more time. Like
Right.
if Franco has like a bad game, like why not throw Awful
Right.
there? Like
Like
he could play that position.
what I was getting ready to say is like some of the stuff that you and I had seen and called, and was like, you had said you wanted to see more of a Bender, and he put him in, and it worked. And it's like, is he not seeing the same thing we're seeing for Bronico or or McCoon or Ruiz, where like they're just not special? Like, why are you still giving these guys? Whereas for Jones, like he seems like a real strong defensive mid.
Mm-hmm.
Awful seems like he could be also well in that position, or just earns more minutes, but they're not getting as much minutes. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure we're not the only ones seeing this, and we're not, because we've even heard commentators on the matches mention it as well. And it's like, so it's like, is that the best you have? Like, and it's kind of worrisome. It worries me. Is like, is that the best we have at that position, or does he just not trust those guys? Like,
And then it's even like with the new addition of like Yazviak, right? Like I'd like to see him used better or used more interestingly, not just like, all right, go in for Rios and play this like second striker position
yeah,
where people are gonna cross you the ball. I'm like, Yazviak is like 5'8". Like he's not gonna win a header over these center
no, yeah,
backs. Like
yeah.
I don't know what we're doing there.
I don't
And
know why. Yeah, I mean, Gazbiak feels more like what he plays at, what he's listed as a winger, not a forward. He doesn't seem like he has the statue of a forward. Bet you he's probably a lot better at sending those crosses in than Lindsay is.
yeah,
Or dribbling
or
into
even
the
just
middle.
cutting in
Yeah, just
instead of
cutting in
crossing.
into the middle of the box, and shooting from outside there. I don't know. It's a lot of the same old stuff, just the same formula with the same results, and it's not the results we need to be getting.
Yeah, it's that is the maddening part of it. I will say, looking over the four matches that Miami has won out of their last five, um, and counting their match against their U.S. Open Cup opponent, Miami FC. Uh, the only real notable one I would say here is Seattle Sounders. They beat them 1-0 a couple weeks ago.
Right.
They beat New England 3-2, and then went on to lose to them last weekend 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that one I kind of take as a wash because we've also beaten New England once and lost to them once.
Yeah.
The notable thing is though that they did have 2 red cards that game. Looks like to their center back Damian Lowe. So he will probably be out, and it looks like they picked up 2 injuries as well.
Okay, so this should easily be a win.
Yeah, and it looks like one of their center mids is on a yellow. And then Herrero Quinteros got the other red.
Beckham might start.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like they might not even have their full strength squad out there. So it definitely feels like it should be a win. It'd be nice to get a win, especially coming back home, a place where not counting LA, we've basically been undefeated. And even that LA game was very close.
Yeah.
So we've been very strong at home. I will be very disappointed though if it's the same lineup as this past week. Even if the only change is like Bender for Ortiz, I'll be pretty frustrated about that.
If there's a game where you're gonna experiment with personnel changes, especially at that left back position, this is a game to do it. Like put Fuchs in the center back and try somebody else at that left back. You never know what could happen. Like you might find the guy. Yeah, and put
or
somebody else
or something, like anything.
Yeah, exactly. Or put somebody else at that Bronico spot. Put Jones in. Give him more minutes at that spot. Like he is going to surprise you. He's so much more dominant at that position than Bronico has been. And yeah, definitely keep Ortiz out. He doesn't deserve any playing time after this last game.
No, yeah. Ortiz is
put Bender back in. Bender's been way more impactful.
Yeah. I mean, after this performance, like Ortiz has a lot of work to get back to that starting lineup.
If anything, I'd like to see the coach do what you suggested last week, is bring in Yazviak at that right wing, put Franco in at the defensive middle, and then just try that alternation.
Yeah. I do wonder if like the Jones thing is because the little bit that we have seen Jones, we noticed that like maybe not every ball is forward like we'd like from that position, but it's more often he's like swinging it out wide more to Lindsay and Mora, as opposed to like Bronico kind of plays it more to the 2 center backs or Kalina.
Yeah.
And I wonder if just the manager doesn't like that and wants that position to like, hey, when you get the ball, I just want you to restart the play like from the back. Yeah. And since Jones doesn't do that and whips it out wide, maybe that's why. Maybe he doesn't fit the system or something. That's why he's not getting
and if
time.
That's the case, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like maybe if we're getting heavy pressure, restart the play. But like a lot of times when Bronico gets the ball, he's not getting a lot of pressure.
No.
Like he should be able to take that space that's given to him and start to play from there, not 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of deal.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be doing that, and that's a lot of what he does, which is what we don't like. Like he gets the ball and he has so much space in front of him where he does absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah. Like I mean, two forward passes in 90 minutes, it just ain't gonna cut it.
Get your cut.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if we come away with a win, if it's still from like just playing the same old way that we've been playing, I'll be pretty disappointed. I really want to see some changes made this week. I think the team needs it. I don't think Ramirez is giving these guys enough credit of like being able to learn a new system quickly or play a different way. At the end of the day, like these guys have been playing football their whole life. They can figure it out, right? Like
right.
And again, like it really feels like teams have figured out this 4-4-2 diamond. Like they probably just went and watched a bunch of matches from like the early 2000s and got it figured out. So I think if you throw something new out there, a new formation or new players, it's gonna throw Inter Miami off, right? They're not gonna have a look at it. So really hope we see something different.
Yep. Same here.
Any final thoughts?
Nope, not on this game.
Yeah, glad to put this one behind us.
I mean, comparing this game to the LA Galaxy loss, this one was just so much more harder to swallow.
Even compared to the Philly loss.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I get it. Orlando's in, one of the top teams. They're up there, but it just goes to show you like what a good formation and what a good team chemistry, like how well that can go towards you and results that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just kind of really lacking on that. Guys don't know where other guys are.
And it's just crazy too because like that Philly game, I think when we first kind of thought about it, we were like, man, defense looked really sloppy. But it was really like Philly's pressure. Like they did and as we've continued to see, like they do a really good job of just applying a lot of pressure to you really fast and like kind of suffocating you.
Right.
And capitalizing on like a few opportunities where here with Orlando, it didn't feel like there was a lot of pressure.
No, there wasn't. They let us pass the ball around a lot. It was their counterattack that got us.
Yeah.
And our lack of pressure.
Yeah, and just sloppy defending.
Just our absolute lack of pressure on our defensive and not all defense players, but overall our defensive and defensive midfield.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Any shout outs?
Yeah, we got one new review.
Oh,
this one.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh. Bubba Sparks. No, this is not from Bubba Sparks. This is from Kenneth F. It says, great CLTFC. That's for Charlotte Football Club. In case you're, I don't know where I was going with this.
Wait, what? Say it again.
That's the title of it. Great Charlotte Football Club podcast. Says, love listening to these guys each week. Very much enjoy their match analysis and thoughts in upcoming matches. Keep up the great work.
Anyone that says they enjoy the upcoming match analysis, I don't believe them. We put in so little effort to that.
That's not what I said at all. It says very much enjoy their match analysis and thoughts on upcoming matches.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I guess
listen, boy. But he also says keep up the great work, which I don't know if it's great work.
But we'll keep it up.
With great work comes
taxes.
Taxes? Yeah, you do get taxed.
This is a tax-free corporation because to have to pay taxes, you have to make money.
LLC.
And we don't make any money.
No, I lose money.
No, but yeah, that's awesome. For who was that by?
Kenneth F.
Gives you a shout out, Kenneth.
Shout out. Oh, was that Jinx? You owe me a soda.
That's great. That's probably the best one we've done. Awesome. So again, if you want to get shouted out like that on the podcast, like our great Kenneth just did, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. Feel free to comment. If you don't have either of those two things, I don't know any other way to help you.
Yeah.
So get caught up into the 21st century. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'll probably cut that out. That sounded mean. Feel free to follow us on our socials, Instagram and Twitter, both at offsides_CLTFC. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye.
Play Pokemon Go.